Alright guys, welcome back to Strong Successful Male. So for today, I'm going to go over an email that was sent from a subscriber. This is from a guy, sounds like he's in his early 30s. And he's going to share a story about his relationship with a particular girl that he met in his work, and how he made just mistake after mistake after mistake with her in his pursuit of her. And you're going to see here in his story, guys, how one-sided this relationship was with her, where she had all the power, all the leverage, and this guy just gave, and she would take. And this is a common mistake that so many guys make because they don't know any better. They're conditioned to do this, to be these typical nice guy types, and they get completely taken advantage of. And eventually, when the woman who had no interest in them really to begin with eventually kicks them to the curb, and they learn a very tough lesson. And you're going to see here, guys, yes, he's going to learn a tough lesson, but ultimately he comes out on top because the guy then realizes the mistakes he was making, makes changes, focuses on his purpose, getting himself in good shape, getting him in a good place to be, and take a wild guess down the road who comes back looking for time with him. And if you guys happen to notice a pattern with a lot of these stories I do, it's because, well, it's not rocket science to figure out human nature and how things go. And I do these stories to help you guys, because a lot of you guys do dating and relationships, whether you want to admit it or not. And you can learn from these guys' stories. And for those of you who watch my shows quite regularly, it's going to get to a point that you watch these shows and see so many patterns in these stories that it's going to get to be the point that you can listen to me read these stories, and you're going to know instantly how I'm going to react to it. And you're going to know instantly what's going to happen by hearing the story, because it's going to become that easier for you to pick up on. So I challenge you guys to, as you watch these, see if you can figure out how I'm going to respond when you hear me read these things, and how you would handle a situation based on what you've learned here, because it'll really help you out. But ultimately, like I said, guys, no matter what, there's always lessons to be learned. Now, I'm going to go through this here, and I'm definitely going to be blunt about where he's messed up, but that's the only way he's going to learn, as well as other guys in the situation. So, it starts off, he says, "Hi, SSM. I've been watching your videos for a while now, and I appreciate the work you've been doing. And I would like to contribute my personal story and my failed relationship to serve as a lesson to all men to be on their path and purpose and never put women on a pedestal." So he knows. Here's my story. I met my ex 3 years ago in the workplace. I was 31 years old then, and she was 26. Met her in the workplace. That's the first mistake. Nowadays, guys, you can't take any chances. I know I've talked about this before. Workplace, no. If you leave the workplace and you still like her, okay, you can ask her out then. But it's not worth jeopardizing your job or your career over, especially with nowadays what's been going on lately for the last few years. She is a devout Christian, attends church regularly, and also serves as a small group leader. We started out as colleagues in the same department, meeting occasionally over lunch. This slowly progressed to dinner outside of work and date nights. She was easygoing and fun, and the beta me then wanted to lock her down into a committed relationship, and I asked for us to be boyfriend-girlfriend. So there's where another area where this guy went wrong. It should be the other way around. She should be pushing you for a relationship, not the other way around. Because believe me, if she's not bringing it up and pushing you for it, she's not there yet. Or in this case, you're going to see not there at all. And the second you start pushing it, immediately shows her how much you like her. Think about it. You want them to work to get you, because when people have to work to get something, I don't care what it is. Work hard to save money to buy a new car or down payment for a house or whatever it is. You appreciate it more. It's the same thing with relationships. She was hesitant initially, saying that I was a great guy, but she was afraid her position as a small group leader would be jeopardized if she were to date me, and I'm not a devout Christian. After much persuading, she eventually said okay. Okay. So, after much persuading, which means you weren't good enough to begin with, so you had to keep pushing her, trying to change her mind. Does that put you in a good position of leverage in the relationship? No. She's in the driver's seat because you're working so hard to get her. That's going to make her lose respect for you. That's going to make any woman lose respect for a guy that has to do that much, because obviously it shows he doesn't value himself very much and doesn't have a whole lot of prospects, because a guy with any value may ask a girl out once and she says no. Okay, I'm moving on because I got 5 other girls that like me. No harm, no foul. But if this guy keeps chasing and chasing and chasing, what value does he have? I mean, it's not rocket science here, but when you throw emotion into the mix, people just don't realize these things. And also, he said that she blamed church and he's not a devout Christian. If she really liked you, she would have overlooked that. In fact, she probably would have tried to convert you and help save your soul or something like that. It goes on. While she agreed verbally, I could sense her reluctance as she did not announce our relationship to her friends and family. Trust your gut. I redoubled my efforts, thought of many ideas for date night, bought her gifts, and took her to different dinner locations every time. So you're continuing to try to prove yourself. You're trying to do all these nice things, treat her like she's royalty. And where did that get you? It got you a lot less money in your bank account. It got you larger charges on your credit cards. All for what? Just some girl? Why waste your time, guys, with someone that shows you little or no interest? That you have to work, it shouldn't be that difficult. I certainly hope that she was amazing looking. I certainly hope that she was great in the sack if you were rolled in the hay. Can't do this, guys. See right here. It's not worth it. 3 months in and our relationship did improve. Define improve. Did she kiss you on the cheek? Give you a little hug? I'm messing with you, but you get my point. She gradually accepted me into her life and introduced me to her friends and family. We even went on short getaway trips together with her family. Things were going great, or so I thought. Doesn't sound so great to me. 6 months in, our relationship started to deteriorate. Well, brother, I don't really call it much of a relationship, and it seems like it was deteriorating from the beginning. While I continued to plan the dates, FYI, since being boyfriend-girlfriend, I paid for all our dinner dates. She never contributed to anything, made any offers to pay, or even planned anything for me. She was becoming less and less interested, and we had less time for each other. So you paid for everything. Everything. Does that show a whole lot of interest in her part? I know to some of you it may sound like I'm being tough on this guy, and I'm sure he's aware of a lot of this now, but you see my point, guys. So many guys will do stuff like this. She can't pick up the tip at the restaurant. She can't buy something every now and again. Again, pay attention to people's actions, not their words. She grew increasingly busy, made plans for her church activities and small group meetups, but never seems to have enough time to meet me. I called her out on this, and she said that her church activities mean a lot to her. She felt we were spending enough time together, and she wanted to spend more time on her church activities. Translation: as if I wasn't bored enough with you before, I'm even more bored. So therefore, I'm going to just keep distancing myself from you. But I'll keep you around when I'm bored, or to take me out for a nice dinner, or something like that. Pay attention to actions. Believe me, when a gal is really into you, they want you all the time. Okay, you relationship guys know that do well with the girls. You know, if they really want you, they really like you, they be bugging you. You're the one turning them down because you're busy on your purpose. The breaking point came when one of her female church friends got depressed. She chose to spend time helping out and console this friend. It started with just spending a few hours each week and progressed to spending more and more hours and eventually many late nights with his friend. Eventually started staying at her friend's place and stopped going back to her parents. This caused a huge strain on both our relationship and with her parents, as every topic seemed to revolve around this female friend, which she started to idolize as a quote-unquote godly sister figure in her life, someone she yearned to have. I gotta wonder if she was actually into this girl. Maybe she's into women. It's a possibility. But again, if she's spending more and more time with her, now I get being there for a friend, don't get me wrong, but if she's spending more and more time with her and doesn't want to see you, what does that say? I confronted her about all this abnormal amount of time that she was spending with this friend. She deflected the issue by saying that we were spending too much time together alone, advised by her friend. Her friend said she was spending too much time with her. And she felt more spiritually connected to God when she spent time with her friend as they studied the Bible together. Well, again, remember who your girlfriends hang out with. If she hangs out with a bunch of single friends that aren't happy about being single, they may try to sabotage your relationship. That could be an element there. Seeing as there was no way to convince her, Every time I do a video in this spot, guys, it can be cloudy and the sun comes out and shines up and looks ridiculous here. Unless maybe the Lord is shining a light from heaven on me because I'm doing good for the world. I'm going to look at that like this. Every time I do a video and the sun comes on me in this angle, the Lord is shining upon this channel, helping me spread the good word. Ignore the ridiculously bright lights here. This is ridiculous. Anyway, seeing as there's no way to convince her, I sought help from a mutual friend who happens to be a spiritual leader of the church she was in. She met up and advised me on managing relationships and the consequences of spending so much time on a single friend. The advice fell on deaf ears. Imagine that. We had more arguments over this, and eventually we broke up as it was apparent to me that she regarded this female friend as more important in her life than me. Dude, I think her old bananas in the fridge and old other food in the fridge were more important to her than you at this point. Okay? She did you a favor, because now she's gone. I'm sorry it happened to you, and I'm sorry you put so much effort into this relationship, but it was just never there. We had more arguments over this, and eventually we broke up as I read that part. I was depressed after the breakup as I questioned myself and my self-worth. I had done everything for her, but she ended up valuing her friends more than me. Bro, don't let one woman's attraction for your lack of attraction determine your self-worth, okay? It boils down to you and what you think of yourself, okay? You're an awesome guy. You just were interested in a woman that wasn't into you, and she strung you along. That's what was, and you just didn't know how to handle it. So don't beat yourself up too hard. I hope you don't. During this period of time, I stumbled upon books like No More Mr. Nice Guy by Robert A. Glover, and also content on YouTube. The knowledge was illuminating, and I realized how I was constantly trying hard to please others and neglecting my own needs in the process. Yeah, you can't go around trying to please everybody. Okay, you're just gonna make yourself miserable. You can't make everybody happy. You ever notice, guys, the bad boys don't do any of this? The bad boys don't go around trying to please everybody and put the girls on a pedestal. They do the exact opposite. And who gets all the girls? Learn from them. I started to put my life back together by working on all aspects of my life. Eating healthier, going to the gym, making an effort to dress well, and furthering my studies by applying for a master's program. Awesome, bro. You're on your purpose. That's how every guy should be. The girl should be last in the scheme of things. The guy bettering himself in all areas of his life should be number one priority. And might I add that the guys that are successful with the ladies make the ladies their last. Now, guys, can you take a wild guess what's going to happen now this guy she's out of his life and he's focusing on his purpose? Can you see where things may go? And this damn sun here is blinding the hell out of me. Oh, that's better. Recently, I bumped into my ex at the workplace. Due to COVID, we were mostly working from home and did not go to the office. Appearance-wise, she had ballooned and gotten fat, and I was shocked by this change. We mingled a bit, updated each other briefly, and parted ways. After that meeting, she's texted me and complimented me on my appearance and how it changed and how to undergo drastic improvement in my dressing. Well, it's not like you said the feeling's mutual, since she ballooned up like a freaking rhinoceros. Notice she's reaching out to you now. I thanked her for the compliments, exchanged a few pleasantries, and ended the conversation. Translation: you didn't ask her out. She would continue to periodically text me to ask about work, and I would answer her briefly and end off the conversation. Once it was her friend's birthday, and she texted to invite me to join her to celebrate the birthday, I declined. Very smart. She had her chance with you. You were a great guy. You bent over backwards for her, which was a problem, but nevertheless, you were a good guy. And she was always like, whatever. Now she's chasing after you. I know it's because you're not making the effort, and of course you've improved yourself, and of course she's now the size of a rhinoceros. Her options are limited. You're not chasing after her. Now she's interested. And believe me, her reaching out to you about work and other stupid things to ask you questions has nothing to do with that. She's just looking for an excuse to contact you, hoping you'll ask her out. That's what's going on there. But she had her shot. And good for you, bro, for not giving her another chance. Although, because you said she got fat, the attractions died. See what can happen, guys? I wonder if she was still good looking in your eyes, if you would have acted differently. But I'm going to guess you probably wouldn't have. He says, while the old me might have welcomed such advances from her, I now have no wish to involve myself in her life. Single women keep their friends single. My ex is probably still hanging out with the same friend and has negatively impacted her. Yeah, like I said before, a lot of videos, there's a lot of truth to that. A lot of gals that are single and alone, watch out for them if they're hanging out with your girlfriend or wife, because they may be jealous and try to sabotage things. I've done plenty of stories like this. I've known this to happen to people I've known. You gotta be careful. Whatever spiritual beliefs she may have, it is clear to me now that she is emotionally broken and lacks masculine presence and authority in her life. I realize the poor choices of my past, and I'm determined not to repeat it. Good, bro. That's the only way you improve, by admitting you messed up, examining all your actions, what you did, and then saying, okay, I'm not going to do that again, or I'm certainly going to try not to do that again. And it's good you sent this in, because I'm going to break this down and point things out along the way. It'll help you and others. With this story of mine, I hope it will motivate all men to be on their path and purpose in life. To never put women on a pedestal, because it will always backfire and cause her to lose all attraction for you. Thanks for your channel, SSM. May you keep growing. Well, thank you, brother, and I'm certainly working hard to keep growing. I just want to add to that about not putting them on the pedestal, but also trying too hard. Trying too hard when they're not reciprocating in a way. You know, from what he told me in the story, she wasn't reciprocating at all. I mean, he just kept trying to persuade her and all this stuff. Guys, if pretty much right then and there, if she's somewhat acquainted with you and she's still not interested, then that's it. Walk away, move on. But this whole trying to persuade her and do all these things to get her to like you and all this stuff, no. Because you're trying too hard. It's going to turn them off, okay? No guy that has a lot of options with the opposite sex and has things going on in his life has to try hard, has to prove himself. Okay? I don't want any of you guys going out there trying to prove yourselves, because it's not going to end well for you. And it's also demeaning as a man. I want you're good enough as is. And if she doesn't like you, so what? There's plenty of other options out there. You walk away. One of the most powerful things when it comes to women and attraction is a guy who walks away. You give me a shot? Okay, done. How many of you guys watching this have had girls that were like, whatever, towards you, you walked away, and then they were interested, right? And oftentimes it's like, too late, you had your shot. So, good story here, bro. I'm glad you're doing well. Keep focusing on your purpose. Don't take Large Marge back, not at all. And eventually, since you're a relationship guy, the next time you meet a gal you like, remember all these things. That way you'll have good success. So, all right, guys, that's it for today. Be sure to comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. And be sure to like the video, share with your friends, and subscribe. And I'll catch you next time.